Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today. Welcome to Two Small Biz Guys. I'm Zen Benefiel and
Ray Silverstein.
And together we are your advisorologists.
Oh, we
were trying to figure out what that meant the other day.
That's right. I still haven't figured it out. Advisorologist.
Maybe we can, and maybe our guest this evening will help us out.
It sounds like I have an illness.
Yeah, we're all ill. You sick puppy. So tonight's guest, we've got the president of the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, Todd Sanders. Todd, thanks for coming and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Oh, you got that radio voice. You got a better radio voice than I do.
No, I got the best one.
And no, you're just a sick puppy.
And that's true. That's why I have such a good voice.
Okay.
We won't tell.
Bark, bark.
People take empathy on me or sympathy or whatever.
They feel for you, Ray. Trust me.
Right.
So, Todd, back to you.
Yeah.
The Greater Chamber, you've had a lot of previous things. You were part of the legislature. You did some as a researcher. You've got, I did a little research.
You did.
And you were also part of the Phoenix Economic Development Council, too, or that framework. And what did that do to prepare you to step into the role as president of the chamber?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is a great opportunity, a lot of fun.
Hey, if you'd like to take off on another tangent, we're fine.
We can.
Okay.
I'll try and stick to the rules for the first 5 minutes.
Okay, good.
So, I think it's interesting. Experience. Everybody's got different experiences, different things at the table. But I spent 7 years at the state legislature, so I'm sort of a refugee. I was, if you've been to the state legislature, they actually
really feel for you.
Does that mean you escaped? Is that what
I
that
did?
means?
I made it out alive. It's like Alcatraz.
Okay. Good.
But where they put the research folks is actually there was actually a nuclear fallout shelter, and it's actually designated for storage. And they cleared that out, and I think there's probably a little asbestos there, but they put us down there. So I spent 7 years in the bowels of the basement, and really our job was to look at bills, analyze them, do summaries, and then present them to legislators. So you're
kind of like TAs for PhD instructors.
I'll tell you, it was a PhD type of education.
I'll bet.
Because everything from tax policy to agricultural policy, we got to get our hands dirty.
Oh, it sounds so exciting.
It really was.
I'm sure you're glad you escaped.
It's kind of sad that I like that stuff, but it's fabulous.
Sick puppy. Most of the time, I'm guessing you had all of these things rolling around in your head as far as what you were finding out, the research that you were doing, what you knew to be true, what you were finding out to be true. What were some of the things that you found out that just totally made you go, huh?
Well, for sure.
As if we don't have enough of that in politics today.
Part of it is, I think the thing that was interesting is that, before going to the legislature, you have certain bills. You hear about 3 or 4 bills a session, and then you hear about certain characters, right? And so I had already formed opinion about those people.
I like that little skit with the bill that was done on Channel 8, when the little caricature.
Yeah.
The House Bill something or other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the thing is
that's about as far as I go.
There's they do real work. They do stuff that impacts us on a daily basis, and tons of it every
And we
session.
don't even have a clue as to how deep and how many hours are necessary in order to do that.
Absolutely. There is so much work that goes into that. And if they come out, that's a huge gauntlet for them to go through. So
Absolutely.
That was one thing. But the other thing is, you have this idea about people, and, there were legislators who I'd formed my opinion. Like, this person's, X or Y. And then you get to know them as a person.
5 to 7 second rule, right?
Yeah. And then you get to know them as a person. Like, hey, I really like this person. I might not agree with them, or they might not agree with me, but they're good people. And until you kind of see them as human beings who are trying to do a job and trying to represent their constituency.
So what led you from the bowels of the basement into the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce?
Well, it was a call from the then president, who my name had been given to her by.
I
one
thought
of the
you were
members.
going to get all esoteric on us.
I know, right? I'd love to say that. No, I got a call and ended up. I was actually looking at a different position in the policy world, and so I kind of went up there, and it was one of those interviews where you're there, but that's not necessarily the direction you're trying to take. So it was really interesting when I got the call and offered me the job.
So why do you think they called you? What was your call? What were they looking for that you had this unique experience and background?
Well, I'm still asking myself that question. I had a lot more hair. You guys can't see me now, but I don't have much hair, and maybe that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They figured you couldn't pull any more hair out, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
And they forgot that the recession was coming.
He was
going to
so
fall out.
slick.
Yeah. No, I think part of it was I was honest. One of the questions was, are you organized? Like, no, not really. And so, I think that the other side of it, I did have a lot of policy experience, and the chamber is very focused on policy. When you think about the impact that legislative policy has, or policy at the city level on business, it's huge. And so I think they wanted someone who was steeped in that and that had those relationship with those members and
Piles of paperwork, but you know where each is at.
I do. Absolutely. And that's the key.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It may look disorganized from the outside, but that's a sign of a genius and someone that's really doing stuff.
Well, before you have order, you have to have chaos.
Absolutely.
So,
And we're coaxing chaos to order now.
No,
You got
but
that?
he's
We're
been,
coaxing.
No, he's been working on order all his life. That's why, because you have to have chaos. So they brought you in because they thought you knew your way around to get bills passed and get certain influence for the business community.
Well, I think I certainly knew the issues. I was able to go down and speak to the issues. I can take and translate, and really that's what you're doing.
And you got your political training.
True,
because we all have to. Whenever we work with groups of people, especially in the types of positions that you're in, and you're dealing with a lot of business people, a lot of influential people. You've got to be able to deal with each of them effectively and create those relationships that work with as little friction as possible. You're going to have some.
Yeah, and you got to meet them where they're at.
You should have
I
some.
always remind people they're the ones with the vote. Yeah. We don't have one. And so how do you create a bridge with that person and at least let them hear your story? And that's really the key is to make sure that legislators understand why you're there and what the purpose is of this particular vote.
So when you find this experience of working with legislators, how do you find it working with small business owners and owners in the community?
It's much different.
And what is that difference from your observation?
Well, at the legislature, there's this multifaceted. I mean, they've got their philosophy. They've got the politics back in the district. They've got the forces that are at present at the legislature. So it's really a lot of different things that are tugging at them. When you talk to a small business owner, he's got one agenda. He's got his goal is to grow his company, his or her company,
or stay in business.
To stay in business.
Their priority is number one.
Their priority, and there's not necessarily a political agenda there. Their agenda is to stay in business, like we said, and hopefully they're growing, and that's key.
So you had this multifaceted priority before. Now you move into the chamber where you basically are working with people who have a single priority. And how do you make that adaptation? How do you cross that bridge?
Well, I'll tell you, this is actually kind of funny. When I got there, I was spending all that time at the legislature. My predecessor, who hired me, she said, Todd, I'm really excited for you because you're going to find out that there's a whole other world outside of 1700 West Washington. And I politely nodded, and I thought, she's insane. Right? Of course there's not. And what I discovered is she was absolutely right. There isn't a whole other world outside of the state legislature. Legislature, hugely important, but there's a whole other world out there. And I think that was a sort of a turning point. It was really pivotal for me to understand that.
Are there crossovers in those realms with the kinds of concepts, ideas, considerations that small business owners have that kind of bridge those two places? And if so, how do you manage
in a way
that?
I mean, I think that they're having to make some really tough decisions. I mean, let's face it, I think small business owners are probably some of the toughest people in America. We talked about just trying to stay afloat, and that can be, how am I going to make payroll this month? My health insurance just went up, even if we had healthcare reform.
Right.
How am I going to make my estimated taxes? And I think they make really tough decisions, and clearly state legislators, they have to make very tough decisions.
When I work with small business owners and peer advisory groups, and one of my fellows, his definition of an entrepreneur is that he puts his payroll in the bottom left-hand drawer because maybe he might be able to cash it.
Yeah.
He's not, because it's the last one that gets cashed. So he's always never certain as to what's going to happen. So it is a tough role.
Well, and that's one of the things I ask new legislators. Have you ever signed the front of a paycheck? Because my members have, and they know what that means. And when you're making decisions for business, this is something that you need to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Now, is the chamber involved with much active legislation?
We are. We probably tracked about 500 bills last session.
Okay.
We have a number of committees that are essentially lined up along issue lines, like transportation, taxation, regulation, and what we do is we watch every bill that was dropped.
No aisle issues, right?
What's that?
There's no aisle issues.
No aisle issues. but we read every bill, and then we kind of slot them, and we take positions on them.
So you must have people must be very well rested to read all those bills.
Yeah. So when they promoted me from the lobbies, I hired someone a lot smarter than me to do that work, and so it's actually done effectively now.
Oh, well, I'm sure it was done very effectively before. Now, when you said these committees, is that the chamber has a committee or the government has a committee?
No, the chamber does. So we have committees that and these are populated by industry folks, small business owners, mid-sized business owners, large business owners, and they basically look at the legislation and they help us determine where we're going to go on a piece of legislation. So it's not Todd deciding, it's the members.
And when the members decide, do they go out to the population of the organization to make comment on the bill or to lobby or legislate for it?
We do. Well, we make sure the legislators know. But I'll tell you what, if I'm down there, that's nice, and they like to meet with me and they listen. But if I take a small business owner down there, that changes the game. When they get up to speak, that's a big deal. This is somebody who's out there fighting the good fight, and they're saying, look, this is going to impact my business either negatively or positively, and it makes a big difference when they are able to do that.
I even noticed that, years ago I had some dealings with the Phoenix City Council and
Right.
watching people step forward and a lot of times people think, they don't care what we have to offer or what we think or what we feel. But the truth is, they're there for that reason. They do want to listen.
Absolutely.
Speaking of listening, we're going to take a break for you to listen to some other things for just a moment, and we'll be right back with Two Small Biz Guys. Thanks for listening. What is your dream? Do you want to achieve it? Do you know how? What if you did? Zen Benefiel is the Chief Possibilities Coagulator with Be the Dream, Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services. He'll help you put your dream to paper and process, removing the liabilities, limitations, and excuses in your challenge to change. Changing your outlook and perspectives opens your experience to opportunity and success. Visit BeTheDream.com and make an appointment with Zen. You'll be amazed with the results.
As a business owner, do you ever feel alone? Hi, I'm Ray Silverstein, founder of Pro Presidents Organization. I know business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. At Pro, our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro peer advisory board meeting is just the thing. It takes away that feeling of being alone by giving you support, insight, and experience. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive business owners facilitated by me. I have walked in your shoes. I have owned and sold several businesses. I will be your mentor and tormentor to move you forward. When you have issues or opportunities that keep you awake at night, where do you get your help? Pro boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro Peer Advisory Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. That's ray@propres.com. ray@propres.com. There's no charge and no commitment to attend. Offering insight, practical advice, and an opportunity for coaching and consulting from their years of real-world experience and understanding. Two Small Biz Guys hit the airwaves with wit and wisdom, exploring small business with a couple of characters in the community, or caricatures as the case may be. Ray and Zen, that is, Mondays at 8 p.m. These guys are passionate about helping entrepreneurs and small business owners explore opportunities, meet challenges, and transform concepts to reality. Two Small Biz Guys, Mondays at 8 p.m.
p.m. Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today. The digital world is vast. Is it working for you? Would you like some qualified help? Zen Benefiel is a wonder with social media who leads focused and organized workshops on multiple platforms like Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. He leads by example, not theory, and teaches you how to live large and lively on the web. From blogs to SEO, his web presence speaks for itself. Take advantage of his expertise. Visit BeTheDream.com and click on Web Wizardry. Hire him while you can.
Welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys with Ray, Zen, and Todd, or Todd, Ray, and Zen, or Zen, Todd, and Ray.
I think we ought to repeat that again to make sure.
No way.
3 times fast.
Speaking of aisles.
He wants Todd, Ray, Zen.
Right. Well, we were talking about aisles on the break, and
Are we going to talk about that in legislation?
piles of smiles and aisles.
Okay.
Okay, so the ability to ignore the aisle and make sense common. In the legislative work that you're doing now with the chamber, there's some issues that the chamber itself is big on working towards and trying to help the small business owner. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? I know there's a real concern about workforce access.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Is the data
Right.
that we're getting from the business community tells us that one of the biggest issues right now and the real impediments to growth is that there's not the number of in terms of the workforce.
Quality and quantity.
Yeah, quality and quantity are really important. So, what our agenda is set by our members, and what our members told us specifically for this year was career and technical education, or what we used to call SHOP, not SHOP anymore, by the way. We need to have that restored. I think it was cut by about $30 million last year. Legislature's really been really positive about this, so we think that's going to happen. But that makes a tremendous difference.
Well, technology has changed so rapidly over the last decade and a half that jobs that we never even thought of 15 years ago are now required today for some of the activity with the Intels and the Motorola, not Motorola anymore, but the Sperry's and the Honeywells and all those kinds of folks that, the larger businesses and even the smaller businesses that feed into those as vendors have to have those skill sets. And it's tough to get because we didn't know those jobs existed. So how do you train those for the future and then market them effectively into the workforce?
Yes, $1 million question. And, you talk about Intel, and it takes me back to Moore's Law, right? That every 2 years, we're basically doubling the information, the ability in terms of computing power. My iPhone 5 is a relic now, and you think that we're turning over technology that fast, and you're exactly right. How do we keep up? That's a real challenge. And part of the answer lies in these things called stackable credentials, and that's where I think the CTE program and the community colleges are so important because you can keep adding. Right. You get a baseline. By the way, get some soft skills along the way. Know how to
deal with people.
Deal with people.
That's the thing in school we don't have is the group dynamics, the ability that team sports does a lot of that work, but that's not in the classroom. You've got to be able to deal with issues.
But not everyone plays team sports.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And you find that in business or business activity that
I play golf. That's individual.
That's an individual sport. But they hit you with a racket. But EQ has a higher criteria for success than IQ.
It's tremendously important, and that's where I'll put my shameless plug in for the Boy Scouts of America. My son's a scout, and he's 11, and I'll tell you what, he could do an interview with you. He will look you in the eye, and he will answer questions fully, and those skills are really, really important, and they're not always available.
Right. So EQ is a teachable skill, but the aspect is there's a lot of technical skills that people just don't have, and working with these business owners, they're restricted on hiring people who don't necessarily have skills because they don't have the skilled people to create, the environment or to create the workplace for the, say, work in
job
general.
training. On the job training.
Yeah, the job training issue is big, and I think that's where you're starting to see the business community decide that they're going to put some skin in the game. I can tell you that we're on 4 industry sectors, and we're starting on healthcare. We're partnering with the healthcare side of the economy, and we're going to be training cohorts of kids on careers that are in demand today and in demand tomorrow. So I think that has to happen. And the other thing is we've got to be able to talk to the K-12 system, and they need to understand, where's the demand tomorrow and where you need to start sending these kids in. And really that's all about opportunity.
And a lot of these kids, when they're getting into the digital world, they create their own businesses, before they're even out of high school. So how do we do that better? Because they're doing it anyway.
Yeah. Well, you talked about sort of the beginning of the century, the turn of the century, and really our system for how we advise kids, especially at the K-12 side, is really sort of a 1970s
antiquated
model. Yeah, it's antiquated, and you're absolutely right. It does not reflect the reality of today.
You mentioned that you have 4 industry sectors, and you're just out of the health one. What are the industry sectors that the chamber promotes or works with? So
really, this was looking at Maricopa County and deciding where is there going to be a significant amount of growth, and obviously there are the sectors and the ancillaries like you talked about. So that's healthcare, it's biosciences, it's advanced business services, and that's everything from banking to insurance, and then it's transportation and logistics, and that really does cover the valley. When you think about some of the parts of the valley where there's a lot of opportunity on the west side of Phoenix. The transportation and logistics opportunities are huge. We just had the director of the Port of Los Angeles come in and talk about how they're they're kind of at capacity. So where is that opportunity for Phoenix? Well, there could be a huge opportunity for us there.
Mm-hmm.
And on the east side, there's a huge tech sector, and technology cuts across everything. So that's essentially where we're looking at today. And
now, do you see a lot of speaking of the educational opportunities and tech training and crossovers, co-working and incubator space? That's a huge area that is burgeoning. You started up 6-8 years ago, and 1,100 across the world, and now there are thousands of them.
And in Phoenix alone, we're
got
up
a dozen.
There. Yeah, we absolutely do, and I think that's tremendous. And that's the thing about Arizona. I think we all know that this is a great place to be new and to start something. And I think for those kinds of people who are inclined to start something like that and then just go out there and build it, this is the perfect environment.
One of the things that I saw years ago that I thought was a real opportunity was bridging business and education.
Yep.
Because the two have very similar models in order to survive. So why not bring them together so that you actually have a more congruent and contiguous program from one to the other?
Absolutely.
So when you talked about the startup and the younger people, how do they first of all, do they migrate to the chamber? Do they go in to use the facilities? So the aspect is, how does the chamber get to these people to give them the skill sets and also the knowledge of the community so that they can prosper and grow?
And I'll tell you, this is a national question, because when Chamber of Commerce sounds kind of boring, sounds like something that your dad did. And of course the reality is absolutely the opposite. And it's really a challenge to get these entrepreneurs who are coming in, their sort of 20s and early 30s, to say, that's a place for me. And it really is incumbent upon us to build a space. And so we've started to be very serious about that. Matter of fact, we have a young professionals group that I actually infused with my board last week for our board retreat. And these are the high level folks that are a part of our board. These are the community leaders that are now infused with these young leaders. And I'll tell you what, when I first thought about this, I thought this is going to be great for these young professionals, and it turns out that it was actually great for both sides.
Absolutely, because you're dealing with generational divides.
Yes.
One of the things that Mr. Roderick, when he was with the city, he gave a great presentation at the DLS or DLA gathering about how these 4 different generations were now working together and having to learn how to get along.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, I think that the word millennial is sort of a term of derision today, and a lot of misunderstanding. I got a handful of millennials at my shop, and I got to tell you, they never got the memo. They are incredible. They truly are.
They are.
They're there
will
late.
run
They're there
run
early.
run. Yeah,
they will.
But that's true with every group that comes out. There's always a difference, and people don't understand the difference. But part of the aspect of business is to understand and to work with those people, because that's going to be your employee.
Yep.
And that's going to be your customer, and you better know them.
Yeah, they're amazing kids. They truly are. We're lucky.
Speaking of amazing kids, we're going to break for just a moment and let those kids play with the airwaves for just a few. And those production kids, you know how they are.
I'm the amazing kid.
Yeah, you are.
Of course.
Yeah, we're all amazing kids inside.
Darn
We're just in old bodies.
No, it's young at heart.
We'll be right back with two Small Biz Guys.
As a business owner, do you ever feel alone? Hi, I'm Ray Silverstein, founder of Pro Presidents Organization. I know business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. At Pro, our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro peer advisory board meeting is just the thing. It takes away that feeling of being alone by giving you support, insight, and experience. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive business owners facilitated by me. I have walked in your shoes. I have owned and sold several businesses. I will be your mentor and tormentor to move you forward. When you have issues or opportunities that keep you awake at night, where do you get your help? Pro boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro Peer Advisory Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. That's ray@propres.com. ray@propres.com. There's no charge and no commitment to attend.
Welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys with Todd Sanders, Ray Silverstein, who's lost something up. Now he's losing his head, and Zen Benefiel. So, can I have your attention, guys?
Squirrel.
Somebody's going snipe hunting.
You know what? You talk about technology. You got to learn how to keep these things on.
Yeah, put a sock on it.
Okay. So here, I'm going to do that. It works.
Todd, come back. Come back, Todd. All right. So, some of the things that you're dealing with the chamber and the bridging of the workforce and the programs and the things that you're doing for the congruence in that, I guess, would be the best thing. What are you doing with the chamber, and how is that affecting the local population, and what can they expect?
Well, I'll tell you, it was interesting. I think really everything changed after 2000. For me, after 2009, I took over in 2009. I had a huge head of hair. We went the recession; it all fell out. And really,
well, that was to save money. You don't have to pay for the barber now.
No, I don't.
Well, you mentioned earlier, you kind of economic development had fallen by the wayside, and that's enough to pull your hair out.
It's absolutely true, and I mean, maybe that's what I did, but it absolutely decimated small business. I mean, all kidding aside, we have a strong relationship with our small business members, and we would get non-renewals, and we'd call to find out, hey, what's happening? Was it something we did? And they weren't there anymore. I mean, it was absolutely heartbreaking. Businesses that we'd known for years and years and years, and they were just gone. And that really, I think, changed the way we operate.
Was there a general cause, or was it specific for each business?
The recession. When I talked to small business owners, they were just
the R word.
I mean, they're what they would say is that we can't get money in the door. It's just not there. There's nothing. And they held on, and some
kind of like the Midwesterners did when the auto industry crashed.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Well, but there's also
a prodigy of that. I'm not going to say victim, because it really compelled me to get out of there and move here and start over.
You're not the mayor of Flint or anything, right?
No.
So that's good.
But there's an aspect that small business doesn't necessarily know how to cope, and you generally find that small business doesn't cut back soon enough because they know the employees. They don't want to take the action. And it becomes a question as to when you cut back and how you cut back. So there's a learning curve where they really have to be hit over the head with a hammer to take the action to salvage some of the organization. And it's always difficult when the business is in a downturn.
Well, and when it's a family, it's quote unquote, it's very difficult to cut payroll. Absolutely.
Well, when you have few employees, you know everyone personally, so it becomes very difficult. So yeah, we that I think fundamentally changed us, and I think in many ways it really showed us that we have to provide direction and real information for these businesses and teach them how to survive.
What are the key programs that you're doing now?
Well, it depends. Sometimes, for instance,
I'm not that old.
Yeah, sometimes with regard to the feds, we're a new executive order every day. Businesses, especially small businesses, they have to try and navigate all that. So some of what we do is making sure they know what's happening and what's coming. The new regulations relating to exempt versus non-exempt employees, that's a big deal. It's going to impact everyone.
It's huge. There's multi-million dollar settlements already happening.
Get ready. Hold on.
We just did a workshop on that where we had a employment lawyer come in and talk about the difference between non-exempt and exempt, and also independent contractors, and also on the salaried.
You bet.
That's going to be coming
And good luck if you can understand that, right?
Well, there's four different
clear as mud.
laws. There's the state statutes. There's the labor board. There's at least two others.
Right. And meanwhile, you're trying to make payroll.
Right.
And so that's a very real deal. National health care. That's another one. And it's starting to get down to the smaller businesses. There's the quote unquote Cadillac tax, which apparently we're all millionaires now because we're all going to be pretty closely subjected to that. And so how do small businesses address that? And what do you need to do? So a lot of it is making sure they understand. And certainly there are changes at the state level that they need to be aware of. So we spend a lot of time making sure that they are armed with the facts and they can take action before the hammer drops. Mm-hmm. Another part of that is a business, especially small businesses, they want to make sure that they're getting out there and they're networking and they're meeting other folks in business for mutual opportunities. Let me tell you, that happens. That works.
I'm going to go off on a tangent for just a moment. Yeah. Is there anything included in there that the small business environment is working toward getting the top tier businesses to pull their fair share? Because the reason I'm asking that is we all know the avoidance of the taxes from the major corporations. Right. And that provides a huge deficit in some respects, and if it were paid, it would provide a huge surplus in order for a lot of programs to be instituted and people to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So is there anything from small business environment that's attempting to address that, or is it kind of a non-issue and you're just working on survival?
Given that we don't really delve into federal issues in that sense, we don't necessarily hear that much about it. I know the U.S. Chamber, that's something that they're in, but we don't necessarily get into that. Bailey, there are occasions.
There's a lot of folks asking, how do we get out of this? How do we turn this whole thing around?
Let's go back and talk about what the chamber does rather than the
it's a good question. It's a really good question because a lot of times we do get confused with the U.S. Chamber. They'll do something and I'll get people calling very angry, like, "What? That's not us."
Yeah.
I promise. Okay. I didn't do that.
So some of the programs that the chamber's doing locally.
We have a small business leadership council, and what they do is this is a group of small businesses that help lead us in terms of where we want to go. They help us in terms of policy. They help us in terms of programming. So that's a key element of what we do.
So how do members get on these various committees so they can participate and be part of the leaders rather than the followers?
Well, I love that question because when we get someone signed up as a member,
step up or stand aside.
Yeah, we try and talk to them about, okay, here are the opportunities, and we really want to make sure that they're informed. Now, you can be a member of the chamber, not be involved at all, and you're still going to reap the benefits. But I like people to be involved, especially get some new blood in there, some new ideas. But as you sign up, these are opportunities that are presented to you. So the Small Business Leadership Council is critical to us. I mentioned the Young Professionals Group. I'll tell you that nationally, young professionals are kind of a thorn in the side of chambers because they don't necessarily know what to do with them. And I'll say this because
ask really good questions that you may not have answers for yet.
And since I'm not responsible for the program, I'll tell you it's phenomenal. Yeah. The team that I have that directs the Young Professionals Group is amazing. These guys they're just growing by leaps and bounds. So that's a real opportunity because they need to know they're the folks that are going to be stepping into the leadership in the next 10 to 15 years. So we need to make sure they have the tools to do that.
Sure. And what are the jobs? I know the World Future Society put out a list of jobs for 2030 some time ago, and some of the jobs on there are, you can see them coming.
Yep.
They're not here yet.
Absolutely.
One of them is avatar managers.
Right.
So, with the social media and all the digital world that's happening now, a lot of these companies, they know this is going on, but they haven't quite figured out exactly what's the best policies and what's the best practices for it, and how do you monetize it? How do you, check the ROI?
Well, one of the other big things is artificial intelligence, where the machines and the processes learn by themselves. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal that my wife pulled out that talks about a new app 10 years from now where you don't need translators, that you'll be able to plug into this app, and they'll be able to translate almost any language.
Yeah. So, I saw Maximum Overdrive. You remember that movie where the machines took? I'm a little worried about that. I got to tell you. You never know.
Well, you just got to keep them well oiled, or take away the oil so they'll stop. That's one way. But
you bet. So, there are a variety. So we have a Professional Women's Alliance. What I like about this is these are women who are from small businesses up to the largest corporations in Arizona, and these are an amazing group of people. And we'll have, for instance, people like Ambassador Barbara Barrett come. Have someone like that, a real change maker come and be a part of something like that, makes a real difference. And I think on the mentorship side,
feminine leadership, I think, for lack of a better term, is so important.
Yes.
It's a different style.
Yes.
He's just looking for a leader, a feminine leader.
Let me tell you,
I'm looking for a partner.
We've got about 90%. My team's 90% women, and they are incredible. They truly are.
Well, they're set up as global leaders anyway, because they're aware of everything around, and they look at what needs to be done. They're multitasking by nature.
Yeah, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're
absolutely
incredible on details, absolutely. So that is a really big focus for us. And then there's the economic development side, and we talked about the fact that Chambers walked away from economic development about 20 years ago. And as we started to look at it, it was very clear for us that's where we needed to be, because for us, as we look at the existing businesses in Arizona, the data will tell you that 80% of all new jobs are created by businesses here in Phoenix and in Arizona. So that's exactly where we're focused, and that's our biggest push so far.
Do you find that the business owners or the small businesses involved are interested in export activities because the world is a different situation than it was years ago?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm originally from Colombia, South America, and so to me it was always a natural thing to be thinking about. But Mayor Stanton, I'll give him a ton of credit. He's probably done 17 trips to Mexico City. When we first went there, it was pretty tough going. Today we have a trade office there, and there is a lot of interest by small businesses in what will be soon the 6th largest market in the world.
It's huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, and I love that Arizona is now starting to see itself as an international state, because we are. I mean, we have been
for quite some time.
Absolutely, and you know what? There's such a strong Canadian presence here as well. So absolutely.
And we also have Thunderbird.
Now that's something to talk about.
Yeah. Ironically, my neighbor from Colombia went to Thunderbird, so it's funny that I ended up here. And it's a great asset, and you can't discount Michael Crow.
Well, I know why you ended up here. You told me that you were watching a Super Bowl game in Colombia, and you saw, it looks so great, we got to go visit.
Yeah, we back in the day we didn't have cable or satellite, and so we were at the embassy watching the Super Bowl, and my dad's on Arizona highways. There was Arizona, and that's where we're here.
And you decided to come check it out.
Absolutely.
And we say welcome. We're glad you're here.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
And we're going to welcome you back after this short break. You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys with Ray and Zen, your advisorologist. We'll be right back with you. Thanks for listening.
What is your dream? Do you want to achieve it? Do you know how? What if you did? Zen Benefield is the Chief Possibilities Coagulator with Be the Dream, Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services. He'll help you put your dream to paper and process, removing the liabilities, limitations, and excuses in your challenge to change. Changing your outlook and perspectives opens your experience to opportunity and success. Visit BeTheDream.com and make an appointment with Zen. You'll be amazed with the results.
As a business owner, do you ever feel alone? Hi, I'm Ray Silverstein, founder of Pro Presidents Organization. I know business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. At PRO, our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A PRO peer advisory board meeting is just the thing. It takes away that feeling of being alone by giving you support, insight, and experience. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive business owners facilitated by me. I have walked in your shoes. I have owned and sold several businesses. I will be your mentor and tormentor to move you forward. When you have issues or opportunities that keep you awake at night, where do you get your help? Pro boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro Peer Advisory Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. That's ray@propres.com. ray@propres.com. There's no charge and no commitment to attend.
Offering insight, practical advice, and opportunity for coaching and consulting from their years of real-world experience and understanding. Two small biz guys hit the airwaves with wit and wisdom, exploring small business with a couple of characters in the community, or caricatures as the case may be. Ray and Zen, that is, Mondays at 8 p.m. These guys are passionate about helping entrepreneurs and small business owners explore opportunities, meet challenges, and transform concepts to reality. Two small biz guys, Mondays at 8 p.m. Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today. The digital world is vast. Is it working for you? Would you like some qualified help? Zen Benefiel is a wonder with social media who leads focused and organized workshops on multiple platforms like Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. He leads by example, not theory, and teaches you how to live large and lively on the web. From blogs to SEO, his web presence speaks for itself. Take advantage of his expertise. Visit BeTheDream.com and click on Web Wizardry. Hire him while you can.
And welcome back to the last segment with Todd, Ray, and Zen. So, Todd, first of all, thank you very much. The conversation we've had has just been absolutely wonderful. One of the things that I want to be able to do is to have folks be able to find you. Excellent. How would they find you?
Well, you speak that so slowly. We want them to take action to find them.
Well, you can certainly find us on,
buy now
on
and
the web.
save. Here you go, Todd. And over to you.
No problem.
Okay.
Our website's the best way to do that, and that's phoenixchamber.com, all spelled out, phoenixchamber.com. And obviously you can find a lot of contact information there.
For those of you who don't know how to spell, use your phone.
There
Just
you go.
Speak it in. Let it find it.
Siri can help.
Right.
And if they want to call and get information, what should they call?
602-495-6460.
I'm very slow with numbers, so what is that?
602-495-6460.
All right, so Todd, how do you see the future for the chamber, and where is it going? What's it evolving into?
That's a great question. And I think for a long time, chambers were groups of these associations that had members, and I think that chambers of the future that are going to survive are going to have to be much different organizations. They're going to have to be value driven, and they're going to have to be about growing the economy, plain and simple.
And when you say value driven, what is the type of value that you want to drive?
Well, I'll tell you, it's easy to say, I'm a chamber, and you're a business, so you should be a member. And that's just kind of it. And I'll tell you, in a lot of countries where it's, for instance, in Spain and in a lot of countries in Europe, you have to be a member of the chamber. So they don't necessarily understand the idea that you have to provide something for that membership. So we're very driven.
They're really old school, though.
Yes.
I mean, we're still, we're barely over 250 years old, trying to find culture that we don't have yet, right? So
I won't touch that one.
But I understand in Spain when they ask me to join the chamber, they say mañana.
Yeah. No, but and for us,
some of that is purposeful.
Yeah, no, and I'll tell you, when we go and talk to a business about an investment, it's a two-way street. I tell them it has to be right for you. we have to provide you the value that's going to be commensurate with your investment. And that can take a lot of forms. But to me, that's essential. You have to be focused on the return on investment for business owners. It's a different world.
What do you find that most of your members benefit from the greatest?
Well, there's a range of things, and I think we talked about in the break the fact
bullet
that
points, please, Todd.
Yeah, most businesses don't, especially small businesses, don't necessarily care what you're doing at the legislature, but whether they care or not,
right.
The work we're doing impacts them in a big, big way. So it may not even be something that's on their radar screen.
Something specific to that is the crowdfunding that just got passed.
Absolutely, great bill, and that was by our friends at ASBA, by the way. A little plug for our friends at ASBA. A very important bill. So there are a lot of things that happen down there that are impacting you that you might not ever know. On the other side of that, we're going to make sure that we're marketing you. We're going to get you out there. We're going to make sure people know who you are and what you do. So that's sort of overt. The other side of that might be, for instance, you don't understand the exempt, non-exempt rules. What are they? So we're going to tell you what they are. There's a lot of value, and you all do that, so you know.
Right.
Folks have to know this. On the other side of it, it might be a company that, for instance, needs new people in Arizona or new businesses to grow. Well, if we're growing business in Arizona through our economic development efforts, that's where the value comes in. So we're really focused on what does that look like for that member, and how do we need to get there. And by the way, if it's not the right fit, then we'll show you where to go. And sometimes it's not.
So, and there are opportunities.
Absolutely. You might need to go to the Arizona Chamber. You might need to go to ASBA. You might want to go to the Tech Council. And part of, I think, the success of these organizations is that there used to be a time where we were all sort of mortal enemies, and that's kind of silly.
Collaboration is key in the new millennium. It really is.
You bet. Glenn Hammer and I, we're I think on 99% of the issues, we're together on those issues, and we're down at the legislature talking to members, because to be on different sides of it with members who sort of are in the chambers respectively doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned earlier. There's certain things that you can just make sense common.
Yes,
and it works for everybody.
Absolutely.
Because you all have the same desires, needs, and wants in order, for your business to move forward.
Absolutely. My philosophy is that this world, it's not a zero-sum game. Someone doesn't have to lose for me to win. I think there's a win-win. I really do.
I think that's the new methodology is everybody. It's like with the partnering workshops that I did for ADOT, Federal Highways, and National Park Services, one of the things that I brought up was the concept of jobarchy, where the job's the boss and everything moves towards that. And when you see it from that perspective, you operate that way, y'all win.
You bet.
Y'all come back now.
Well, and that's the Phoenix Forward initiative, the Economic Development Initiative, is based on that.
Right.
It's based on a partnership between us, the City of Phoenix, the Commerce Authority, the Maricopa County. This was work that was being done independently. Now we're all doing it together. We're asking the same questions. We're getting the same data, and we're growing the economy together. That's a big deal. And on the chamber side, I'm bullish on chambers, and I talked about the fact this isn't a zero-sum game. We're taking our program that it took us a lot of time and treasure to build. We're going to give it away.
That's exactly what's happening as I see it in the small business arena. These kinds of examples are being set, and it's filtering out through the rest of society. Yes. And larger businesses, and we're all evolving towards a much better community because of it.
I couldn't agree more.
What do you mean by giving it away? What is giving away what?
So what we're going to do is, as I mentioned, chambers walked away from this. So a lot of us, and ourselves included, were rusty at doing this kind of work. And so in order to be credible, we need to get training. So we're working with AEED, the Association of Economic Development, working with ASU. And what we're going to do is we're going to take chambers, and we're going to make sure that they have the tools and the resources necessary to do this work. So we're actually going to help them get that training. And then once they're ready to go, we're going to give our program, our whole template, everything, and we're going to give it to them. And then we're going to help them raise some money so that they're doing that. So you can imagine that Phoenix is doing this, and Tempe and Glendale and Chandler and Surprise, and all of a sudden you've got all of Maricopa County doing work that's meaningful, and we're going in the same direction.
And exemplary.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
and again, I don't have to win at the expense of Tempe or Chandler. I can make them win, and then they can help me win.
We all live in the valley.
Yeah.
So you're making this basically a synergistic activity, taking the strengths of each one, making the community having a much greater strength to achieve or be successful.
We're finally reaching
world.
the apex of the strengths movement, Ray.
Yeah. Well, it's a different type of definition, but okay.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I'm a big believer. I'm bullish on Arizona. I'm bullish on Maricopa County. And if I can take what we're able to build and successfully execute and give it away so that they can do it too, I'm a winner.
Right.
That's tremendous.
Well, this is kind of what I see from what Senge introduced back in the 90s. Learning organization, self-mastery, team building.
Yep.
It just really has allowed, and it's come full circle, where the average person, the business owner, understands what that means, or at least how it affects their ability to drive their business forward.
It's key. It's absolutely
We're all
key.
on the bus.
And I think sometimes that gets lost in the equation, that we are on the bus. I mean, and I'll just digress a little bit thinking about today.
Might change drivers every once in a while,
Iowa.
but we're all on the bus.
Well, I mean, we're all clubbing each other, and it's like, we're all on the same team, right? And I think sometimes that gets lost in not only politics, but in business and in a lot of other areas. So I think you're absolutely right. If you can start to think about why you're there. My wife has a favorite quote of Ted Kennedy. I think they were talking, he was talking about politics and the Republicans, and I think his dad told him, hey, you know what? They're just as patriotic as you are. They're looking at it differently. And I think you might not love Ted Kennedy, but that's an important thing to think about.
Right.
We're all on the same team.
So the aspect is when you generate these programs. So the programs you're generating are kind of like trials, or so that you enhance these and move them out to other areas.
Well, when we our program's ready to go. So I have it wrapped up in a bow. I have an incredible team who can help and go chambers deploy this work. And really it comes down to going out and getting the data. We'll help them understand how to get that data. And what I want to see at the end of the day is all of us having the opportunity to do this, and then to really come together and have a real sense from a metrics perspective, what's moving the valley, how it's being moved, where we could do a SWOT analysis of what Maricopa County looks like, and then decide how we're going to move it forward. That's really where we're going to go.
Has the chamber ever done a SWOT analysis before?
We have. I think the finding there is they need a new president CEO.
But that was in 2009.
That was before Todd. That was BT.
That's not now.
No, I'll tell you what, Doug.
Well, at least it's not BS.
Well, there's that.
So when they say a SWOT analysis, they don't mean to hit you out or kick you.
I hesitate to think what that would look like for me.
So one of the things that we want people to be able to do is contact you. Again, the website is phoenixchamber.com.
Absolutely.
And the phone number, again, is
602-495-6460.
All right. Todd, it's been a real pleasure having you here. We had a great conversation.
Likewise.
A lot of cool stuff came up, and hopefully our listeners will benefit and reach out to you, those in the Phoenix area, and get involved.
We're here to help. Thank you so much. It was really fun.
You sound like the IRS. We're here to help, but you don't mean that.
Yeah.
We're from the government. We're here to help.
We're here to help, and we'll see you next time. This is Zen Benefiel and
Ray Silverstein.
Two Small Biz Guys.